Doom, man, I love that. I love that. Yo, it's your boy Big Vern. Shout out to us here at App Stupid. If you're just joining us for the first time, welcome. Been a busy Monday. We talked about North Carolina being an actual living, breathing cartoon and a laughing stock in the ACC after James Madison hung 70 points on them. That was bad. That was bad. Then we talked about Nebraska choking because they don't score points in the second half of football games. And they gave away I wouldn't say an easy victory, but a hard-fought victory to Illinois on Friday night. Kind of shaking your head at that one. Then we pivoted. We talked some Florida Gator football. The Gators are fighting back. Right now, they're 2-2. And so that's got to be encouraging for the faithful at Gainesville. So, yeah. Then we pivoted and went back to the Big Ten to talk about Indiana being a bracket buster. And certain teams, they can't lose to Indiana or that will effectively eliminate them from the college playoff on the Big Ten side of things. Going to be real fun to talk about and get that thing going. But we're going to close out the show and talk some Clemson football. Clemson, they got rid of NC State. And honestly, after the whole Tennessee thing, I don't see how NC State recovers. I really don't see how NC State recovers. After the entire Tennessee thing to get Clemson as a buzzsaw, Clemson came in. They were playing really well. And it's just like, I'm still not buying Clemson as the real deal. So don't jump up and down right now, Clemson fans. But I will give you your due. I will tip my hat. You got rid of NC State in impressive fashion. You got rid of them in impressive fashion. Because that game was hard to watch if you're a Wolfpack fan. If you're a Wolfpack fan, that game at halftime was 45-7. That game at the half was 45-7. And it just didn't let up for North Carolina. I mean, Clemson comes out in the third and put up 14 points. And I guess everybody left. Everybody left the stadium and they let the walk-ons, water boys, and third string and the practice team, and the spec team, they let them get out there and play some defense because by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, North Carolina State only had 14 points. And right now, taking those blowouts, back-to-back blowouts, I don't know how you get this thing back on track for the Wolfpack. I just don't. Clemson played a hell of a game against them. 254 in the air, 269 on the ground, seven and a half yards a carry. That's going to be pretty good. First downs, Clemson had 24 of those. Again, them being put in that third down in conversion, that happening to them, they were in that position 10 times. They only converted 3 of them. Again, I'm not sitting here saying that Clemson hangs the stars in the moon, but what I'm sitting here saying is that legacy media had this thing completely wrong. They were telling everybody Florida State and NC State, they were the cream of the crop in the ACC, and they were predicted to have high finishes in that conference. And now to see what both of those college programs have become, it's like, what the hell did y'all see? And this NC State thing, my goodness, it wasn't going to let up. NC State had 2 fumbles. They were throwing picks. Of course, they had to hold on to the ball and had to win time of possession, because if they surrendered for, I guess, 3 more minutes off that clock, Clemson would have put up another 14 to 21 points on these guys. Just an atrocious outing. Give me a quick 20 from a rap album. Nah, we'll do the unofficial sponsor spot. This is Big Vern. Drop the spot. Yes, Taco Bell, Live Moss. Taco Bell, Live Moss. Order online, download the app, or visit the good folks at your local Taco Bell. Taco Bell, Live Moss. So when we go back and we look at the stars of said football game, I still don't believe in Cade Klubnik. I don't. I'm not going to hold you. I don't believe in that kid. On the year already, 729 yards, 8 TDs, and 1 pick. Although he had a hell of a game on Saturday versus the Wolfpack, 209 in the air, 3 touchdowns. He also ran 4 times, pulled it down, called his own number 4 times, and got 70 yards out of it. Again, they had some atrocious numbers in rushing where it was, you just shrugged your shoulders. You shrugged your shoulders. There's not much you can say. Not much you can say. Clemson had such a bright spot in this game. I don't know from the Wolfpack where you go with this thing. They get Northern Illinois. That was the team that beat Notre Dame. And if they lose that game, the last remaining games on the schedule, Syracuse is pretty much one of the unknowns. Wake is just as bad as North Carolina State, so I'm not even going to go ahead and speculate on that one. Cal is a team nobody's talking about. And I did have Cal pick to beat them. And if they drop Northern Illinois and they drop Cal, they're still Stanford. You got Duke, who cares? Georgia Tech will beat them. I know Georgia Tech just lost to Louisville, but Georgia Tech scores a lot of points. And you have to actually stay scoring with them, because if you don't, they will keep on gunning and gunning and gunning. That team will get it together. Then the stinker, the fraudulent bowl at the end, the Tar Heels versus the Wolfpack. Vomit in a can, vomit in a bucket. Nobody cares. That's what you got. That's what you got. And on the Clemson side of things, if I'm Clemson and I go back and I look at this schedule, and I want to know, hey, look, you all are running and gunning. They play Stanford next week. I don't know enough about Stanford to give you an educated guess. They can't lose to Florida State. Let me just go out on a limb and say they won't lose to Florida State. If they lose to Florida State, that will derail Clemson big time. Then they get to beat up on Wake. There's Virginia. Then they have the game they have to circle on the calendar at Louisville. Louisville could be a buzzsaw coming into that game. Louisville has right now Notre Dame ahead of them in South Bend. If they get rid of Notre Dame, Louisville will be on a buzzsaw tour. And that could be one of those perennial games you need. South Carolina, that's a game now with huge implications. Pitt, that's on the road at Pitt. That's a rough and tough football team. They will get after it. That's another one. So you all have 3 landmines. And you have to, if you go 2, like I said, for 3, if you get 2 out of the 3, that's fine. I'd rather you get the South Carolina and Pitt. But if you happen to get Louisville, you may put yourself in a driver's seat in the ACC to get to that ACC championship game. Who knows? Who knows? But congratulations anyway. Not going to be a hater. Not going to go ahead and let that grow. But as usual, well, that's the show. So thank you to everybody for subscribing, sharing, and liking the content. Enjoy your afternoon and your evening, and we will be back on Wednesday. This your